Blanco, there's his sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Nalini. This is chapter 8, part 3. Grimier placed both his hands inside the fire and oil, and he placed both his burning hand on the forehead, on my forehead, and he mumbled words of magic. On the meantime, a priestess entered with a sobbing baby in her arms, and the baby had been born not a few hours ago, and the child still had part of his umbilical cord wrapped inside the clean bed sheets. And Nalini's soul buried itself deeper, and even though it was tradition, Nalini could not help but feel bad for the poor child. Indeed, she had never told her Alphaseer her true feelings about most of the rituals he performed. After all, she had been raised to never question tradition. It also bothered me as well, the terrible fate of the child. Still, there was nothing I could do. I had to witness the original second birth ritual, the one where somebody actually had to die. And as it happened with most sacrifices, the child was placed within the magic circle, and the priest fed the child from a bowl filled with a milky white substance, and based on my intel, it was some sort of narcotic to numb the pain and put the sacrifice to sleep. And when the child slept, the priest took out a dagger and stabbed the child in the heart. And when she removed the dagger, the magic circle began to glow, and the body was calcinated, and the flames danced in a mad frenzy, and the flames of the torches and the candles echoed its dance of death, and all of the flames suddenly died. And Grimier raised his hands to the sky, and in a high-pitched voice he yelled, "Lara, in our darkest hour, deliver us from this darkness." And when the flames turned back on, they had a chalky white color. And Grimier's flames too felt cool to the touch, and as if the fire had become water cold, and from the ashes of the child there rose two huge phoenixes, and they glowed as brightly as two suns. And indeed the poor slain child had potential, yes, enough potential to even eclipse Grimier. And while Grimier was a prophet, the child was a true magic user who did not need guardians to cast magic. And the flight of both birds was limited, since both their feet were tied by magical strings, and the string was emanated by the magical circle. And from those magical strings, a tiny snake crawled its way up to one of the firebirds, and it bit its neck, and its flame died. And the dead phoenix evaporated along with the snake, and the one that remained landed gracefully behind Grimier. And Grimier beckoned me towards the remaining bird, and the bird enveloped me within its wings, and I felt its immense heat entering inside my mouth and nostril. And it felt as if I was burning from inside out, and the pain subsided when the blaze departed my human spirit, and it gently glided deep within and wrapped itself around the other Nalini. Like a cocoon, her new form hatched from within the flames, and she changed more in spirit than in body, and all her spirit glowed with fresh vigor, and like all of the other twice-born, she was filled with the same arrogance and certainty. The infant spirit was also imbued with strong magical powers, and Nalini's spirit glowed and crackled like lightning, and resonating with the child's potential, she intoned an overpowering aria, and unlike regular arias of the elves, hers was filled with lightning, and it manifested into sparks that filled the entire temple. In the ecstasy of her newfound power, she seemed like a whole different person, and even her soul's nature changed. And our bond broke when she obtained the soul fragment, and as I started to depart, I said to myself, "Pity, now she's just like all of the other elves." When I returned to my old body, I felt that somebody was carrying me. I also felt a sharp knife in my neck, and in a husky voice, a man dressed in black was yelling, "Come out of the shadows, you all, or this little freak gets him." The darkness said nothing in response, and I said to the man, "Put me down." He placed me on the ground, and gesturing angrily to the bandits, I said, "Be gone, all of you. I am not in the mood to indulge your free will." The bandits started departing at my command, and angrily, while some that were resistant to my mind control said, "You fools, what are you doing listening to that creature? Are you out of your minds?" Focusing my eyes in the direction of the guy that resisted me, I said to one of the bandits, "I haven't any quarrel with you, stranger, and if you leave now, you may escape with your life." In response, he shot an arrow aimed at my head, and the arrow ricocheted off my robes as if they were made of iron, and this unintentional display of strength unnerved the bandit, who also fled with his tail between his legs. Sighing, I turned around to survey the damage, and the carriage was burning, and most of their supplies had gotten ruined. More importantly, I sensed that my traveling companions and the horses were alive. "I'm back," I said, waving in their direction. They saw my silhouette against the fire, and Kashmir was helping her brother walk, and he had taken a few arrows, and two on the shoulder and one on the knee, and he was wincing, trying to fight back the pain. I saw what you did there. I was used to be an elf like you, to took an arrow to the knee. Ah!
I saw what you did there.
I don't know. It's funny to hit people in knees.
Yeah.
Not being too keen on fighting, the fairies emerged from their hiding spot, and the first one to speak was Amir. Where were you? Nalini needed my help, so I left, I said nonchalantly. She has been dying for you to abandon us, snorted Casimir. Waving my hand, I said, nah, she was just nervous about the second birth ritual thingy or whatever. The twins' faces darkened into a frown, and to make them feel better, I added, won't happen again, trust me, Nalini's changed, and I don't want anything to do with what she has become. Casimir had her brother seated before the burning carriage, and with a strong wish she yanked the arrows out, and she then whispered words of healing, and Master had known the spell did not work, and she tried to heal him again. But it did nothing, and by now her brother was blacking out. Sorry to disappoint you, Sugar Pie, but you have no true magic, and without Grimir and his goddess Lava, you cannot cast, I said coldly. And worried, they made him rip the ends of her skirt to make a tourniquet for her brother's wound. As she vainly tried to help, and I said to Crimson Rose, you still remember your own magic, right? Chuckling, Crimson Rose stood on top of Amir's sweaty forehead. Don't forget that some of them are like tiny fairies. Raising her hand to the sky, she said, I invoke these forces of nature in the name of Ortiza, Hig, and Auno, and grant this child health. And in response to her invocation, the grass around us started to die, and this life energy gathered around Crimson Rose's wings, and her wings were full. She sprinkled her fairy dust over Amir's wounds, and the dust stimulated the boy's regenerative system, allowing it to generate new blood and tissue, thus healing the wound quickly. And Amir gave a sigh of relief while resting his head on his sister's lap, and from the darkness emerged Vicos leading the horses. And when the fight broke out, instead of fighting, he took the horses to safety, and the fact that he valued animals' lives over the elves' lives really bothered Casimir. However, she said, pointing to Vicos, what is wrong with your pet demon? First of all, Vicos is not my pet or a demon. He is his own man, and he can decide what's important for himself. I said, and second of all, even if he was a true demon, he would not have killed the bandits. After all, most true demons do not kill. Narrowing his eyes, Amir asked, what do you mean, true demon? There is no point in fretting about it. You have your demons and we have our own, I said, avoiding dodging the question. And it was pointless to disperse information that they would not be able to understand. Seeing that I was not going to explain things, we salvaged what we could of the wreckage, and Vicos during the fray had managed to save the food supply and some of our luggage, and Amir regretted losing his fancy new suits. However, what he regretted most was that his bow had been burned to a cinder. As for Casimir, she was happy that she had kept the money in the coffer with the jewelry in her person, and the fairies were indifferent to material possessions, so they did not mind losing the cargo. And we rode the rest of the night in silence until we arrived at a new town. This town was small and militarized, and it mainly served as a rest stop for the Berserker army. And when we arrived at the gates, the guard asked, state your purpose. We seek rest from our weary travelers, I said to the guard. Did you bring money, he asked. Yes, plenty, I said. Lower the gates. We entered the town cautiously, and a motley crew drew stairs wherever we went. And twice the twins hinted of the desire of the party, and determined to teach them a lesson, I ignored their pleas. And we rode towards the only inn, and a bright tomboy, the age of 12, took the reins of our horses, and after we paid the innkeeper, he let us to the only room remaining, and we ate a cold meal in our rooms, mostly because the twins were afraid of going to dine at the bar. And by nightfall, I heard a soft knock at the door, and opening, I saw a lovely nymph, and her hair was long and red, and when she smiled, little flowers would sprout all over her hair. And she wore a loose pink dress, and it revealed her bare foot and long, delicate arms. Based on my brother's intel, the nymph was named Undine, and she was one of the 12 generals of Bersamin, and she was a poisoner of sorts, leader of the named Berserker tribe, and she had a marriage alliance with a dwarf named Mafuke, and together they were in charge of shaping young children into proper warriors. Mafuke trained their bodies and she trained their minds. In a soothing voice, aimed at being inviting and harmless, she said, may I come in? I don't see why not, I said, beckoning her within. I said to my companions, with telepathy, speak not. Timbre?
5 minutes.
Undine gratefully walked towards the window and she looked at the night sky. Sighing, she said, Lavia looks beautiful tonight. Laida was the name that the locals had given to the Titan moon, and Franina said, spare me these formalities, what do you want? As it was customary with the nymphs, her eyes turned pitch black, and this signified that she wanted to rip me limb from limb. And she held back her reach, and her eyes turned to a placid blue, and in a soft, modulated voice she said, who are you? I know not who I am. At first I thought I was Nalini. Now I'm not so certain. The Nalini I have been so fascinated with has become nothing but a memory. I said this to her, telling her the truth. Since I knew that she was akin to the berserker, I told her a truth that she would not be able to understand, and saying such complex truth was one proven method in order to confound them. Unfortunately for the citizens of this world, the berserkers have become quite educated over the past 200 years, and this was due to Undine's tutelage, and as it stands, it was almost impossible to find a truth that a berserker could not understand. A bit perplexed, she asked, okay, why do you travel with elves, fairies, and whatever the hell that is? Pointing to Magus. Traveling alone makes for a dull journey, I responded. Then it rested her head on her hand and thought a moment. Her thoughts ran as dust. Well, they are certainly a strange lot, and their intentions seem clear as water. Still, there is something unnerving about the weird girl and her pets, and she is either a fool or extremely powerful. Plus, what is that thing anyway? It is not a demon, nor a god, nor a messenger, nor a creature. He is something else. And the way that the girl talks and acts, still, I hold this truth to be self-evident. She is the same as Marduk. And while gazing at the moon, Undine debated whether to kill us or not, and she also started regretting coming in here in the first place when Magus started staring at her with his unflinching gaze. Time, bro?
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Eventually, she concluded, with a little help on my end, that it would be best to leave us in peace, and before slamming the door behind her, she said, I know that my last thought was not really my own. So Nalini can use mind control on them because they know that those thoughts are not their own. So the berserkers be resistant to that, to mind control, because they have been cursed with truth. I found it curious the effect of the berserker powers inside of it, and the mastery of truth and the source of all their anger and frustration work in mysterious ways. And I realized that when it came to berserkers, they would be a tough nut to crack. And feeling a bit deflated, I prepared to go to sleep with the others. And I stayed up all night, taking turns with one of the fairies. And around 3, my mind wandered, and I focused my thoughts on Wooden. And Wooden was looking in a pool of water, and her 2 demons watching over her were smirking, and they seemed deeply amused by something or someone. And I yelled at her, Wooden. Wooden said nothing in response, and she simply sighed. And giggling, her fire demon said, Wooden has the hottest for a night, and the ice demon retorted, Wooden and foreigner sitting in a tree. I opened a memory fragment of my area on top. I opened a fragment of my area on top of Wooden's head, and the fragment allowed for cold water from the lake to fall on her head. And Wooden angrily yelled to her demon, what the hell is your problem? Can't a girl stalk her lover in peace? I said to her, Wooden, we need to talk. Hearing my thoughts, she yelled, Nalini, you are lucky you are miles away, or else I will be choking the life out of you. Shut up and listen, I snapped. Fine, talk, make it quick. I have a wedding to sabotage, she said, returning her gaze to the pool. I saw the second birth ritual, and the original uses sacrifice, and half the power was fed to the devotees, and the other half was sent to Lara. I said, giving Warden the memory fragment that she desired, and Warden watched the scene in silence. While gazing at the priestess with a shout, she said, I see. Frankly, I did not see what she saw, and at times like this I wish I had inherited my father's future sight. And Warden was always 2 steps ahead of me because of her ocular abilities. And gazing back at me, I said, if you ever go back, stay wary of that demon chick. She said, alluding to Nalini, to the other Nalini. I know, sis, I know. And I wanted to ask her how Nalini looked to her in her eyes. However, deep down I knew that Nalini's second birth marked the start of her true suffering. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye and God bless.